Hello and welcome everyone to my Guardians of the Galaxy review, and I was going to review this yesterday, but when we got back it was kind of late. We went out to dinner afterwards, and I was working 11 days straight, so this was kind of a treat for myself, and I was exhausted when I got home, so I just kind of relaxed and went to bed afterwards. But I'm here now to review it, and I'm going to let you know right now, Guardians of the Galaxy was my third most anticipated film of the year. It was Godzilla, the Raid Barandal, and Guardians of the Galaxy, and so far the movies have been my favorite in that exact order. So oddly enough, if you want to know how I feel about it, that should let you know about basically how I feel about it. Man, I loved Godzilla and the Raid, so if it's right up behind them, that means I'm really must enjoy this movie. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy, it's not based on the original team. For anyone who's wondering, for the one person who might be wondering that, this is not the original Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the 2008 team. This is Starlord, Rocket, Gamora, Groot, and Drax the Destroyer. This is not the original team at all. This has nothing to do with them. I don't think it even references them. It would be cool if they did, but as far as I know, they didn't. Now, this movie, it's about 2 hours and 2 minutes if you include the credits, but everyone includes the credits because everyone basically stays for the post-credit scene in these Marvel movies. And I have to say, the post-credit scene in this movie was the most mind-blowing post-credit scene in almost any movie I have seen, Marvel or not, and I am very excited about it. It blew my mind. Did not see that coming, and I can safely say James Gunn is a genius. James Gunn, you are the man. You were great with Super and Guardians of the Galaxy. You did a phenomenal job. Now, first I'm going to get into the acting before I get into the story. Actually, no, I'm going to do that differently. I'm going to tell the story first. Guardians of the Galaxy tells the story of the titular Guardians of the Galaxy. They are space outlaws at first, and they're trying to retrieve one of the Infinity Stones, which is found in this orb. And for anyone who knows, they already have 2 Infinity Stones in the first 2, and the Avengers, the Cube, and then in Thor: The Dark World. They already took care of those 2. And now there's the third one, which I forget which one this is. And for everyone who knows the Marvel Universe, they all come together in this Infinity Gauntlet, which is eventually used by the big guy, Thanos. And they're trying to recover this Infinity Stone, so that way it doesn't get into the hands of Ronan the Accuser, or Thanos himself. Now, this movie has a very interesting pace. It'll have a good action scene, then it'll have a good comedic moment, and then something very serious will happen, and it's perfectly paced with how that works. It has some of the most phenomenal action scenes of all year, and most of it's in like space combat, and I thought that was really cool, even though I was hoping to see Rocket do more machine gun work than he did, but still, seeing him fly and take down bad guys was awesome. And even though he never said his line, "Blam, murdered you," that was kind of disappointing to not hear, but it was still... Rocket was still phenomenal in this film. I was kind of skeptical about Bradley Cooper playing him, but he did a great job, and the timing was perfect with him. It was all just wonderful. Groot was awesome. As everyone knows, this particular Groot says, "I am Groot." I mean, the original Groot, he could actually talk, but this Groot can only say, "I am Groot." But then again, the original Groot was a bad guy. And this Groot, voiced by Vin Diesel, and Vin Diesel has the perfect voice for Groot. Her name is Zoe. I don't remember her last name. She does Gamora, and as far as everyone knows, I do not like the Avatar movie, both the Last Airbender and the James Cameron one. I just thought they weren't that good. Obviously, no one liked the Last Airbender, but anyways, I thought she did great as Gamora. And Chris Pratt, he did a phenomenal Starlord for this. He obviously didn't do the original Starlord. The Starlord from the comics, he was a bit more serious. Like, he obviously had a light heart every now and then, but it was definitely a more serious character than what they portrayed in this film. And they also changed his origin story. But for anyone who knows the original origin story of Starlord, it's a lot darker. So I don't think they would have put that in the movie. For the record, Starlord's original origin was his mother gave birth to him, but his father didn't feel as though Peter Quill was his son, so he wanted to actually murder him, but his dad, his Earth father, dies of a heart attack, and eventually his mother is murdered by aliens, which has him set on course to become a part of NASA, and that throughout all his life he always had an obsession with space. So joining NASA was also a way for him to find the aliens that killed his mother and get revenge. And then he's eventually rewarded the title of Starlord. It's not just a nickname he gave himself like in this movie. But I didn't mind that. I thought the Starlord they made in this movie was really cool. In this one, his mother dies of cancer, and he's then abducted, which isn't a bad story, but it wasn't what I was expecting when I saw the movie. Drax. Some people are saying that Dave Bautista, I think that's how you say his name, wasn't good at acting. I thought he was hysterical. This is as close to as like a comedic Drax as you can get. It was really, really funny. Some of his lines were great. Like in the previews, there's the one line, "Nothing will go over my head. My reflexes are too great as I would catch it." And then there's a bunch of other lines he has. It's one of those perfectly paced, perfectly toned movies. And I really can't find that many faults with it other than some things I wasn't really expecting. The guy who played the other space thief, the guy who actually played Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and the one guy who cuts off his hand on The Walking Dead. I don't watch The Walking Dead too much. I don't remember that character's name, and I can't think it's Michael something. I can't remember his last name. That's driving me nuts. Hopefully I'll remember eventually. But he did a great job. He's a great actor. He needs more attention. He gets attention, but he needs more credit than he's been getting. He's terrifying in Henry, and he is awesome and he is hilarious in this. So he is one of those versatile actors that I think that doesn't get enough credit for his acting ability. Now, Thanos, he isn't in this movie too much. He's in it for a couple scenes, but that's it, so don't go into it expecting a lot of Josh Brolin. They changed his design a little bit from the end credit scene of the Avengers, but it's not that big of a deal. The main villain of this is Ronan the Accuser. And Ronan, it's obvious he's a side character to Thanos in this, but he still is very threatening in this movie. He's a great villain. He's not as disposable as the Dark Elves were in Thor: The Dark World. Thor: The Dark World I felt was kind of disappointing. I was expecting it was fun, but still it didn't. It felt like the filler Avengers movie just because this one feels like an actual movie that takes place in the Avengers universe, even though none of the Avengers are referenced. So don't go into this expecting Iron Man or Ultron to make a cameo at any point, because they don't. The movie still holds up on its own, which is the best credit I can give it. It's a phenomenal film, one of the best of the year. Definitely a 5-star film. If whoever's watching this hasn't seen it already, I highly recommend that they do. It is phenomenal. It is one of the most fun times of the year. Now, hopefully Age of Ultron will be good, and I feel as though for the last Marvel movie until Age of Ultron, this is the best way to go. Even though the Guardians will not be making an appearance in Age of Ultron as far as I know, I still feel as though this is the best film to stop it at before Age of Ultron, and then their appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and hopefully seeing them alongside the Avengers in the Thanos story of the Avengers 3. Now, I hope they don't screw up Ant-Man or Black Panther, because they handled Guardians so well. It was really funny and really good action, really well paced. I highly recommend it for anyone who wants to see it. Anyways, that's my review of Guardians of the Galaxy. You all take care.